Olá, pessoal. Tudo bem? And welcome to the Brazil Crypto Report podcast, where we talk to the builders, entrepreneurs, and influencers from across the Brazil crypto ecosystem. I'm your host, Aaron Stanley, and today I'm joined by Fernando Martines, who is a reporter with Portal do Bitcoin, which is a leading cryptocurrency news platform in Brazil. Fernando and his colleagues have been doing a fantastic job covering the collapse of Braiscompany, which is a massive cryptocurrency pyramid scheme that until recently was operating out of northeastern Brazil and has been imploding in recent months. It's a pretty wild story, and there are quite a bit of twists and turns that we're going to talk about here. And we're also going to provide some broader context around the fast and loose world of cryptocurrency pyramids in Brazil. So with that, Fernando, e aí, tudo bem? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Aaron. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and to talking about our job and our reporting. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. So for context, Fernando and I actually recorded the first edition of this about 2 weeks ago. And then I think right after, like the day after we recorded, the Braiscompany offices were actually raided by authorities, and a bunch of things have sort of changed since then. So we decided to do sort of a do-over here, a second edition. So, really quick, Fernando, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and Portal do Bitcoin?
Well, reporting on cryptocurrency since September of 2021, and since then it's been a wild journey. We're doing reports about these Ponzi schemes and about serious projects too. Before that, I was covering the justice Brazilian system. So it was a difficult experience because it's a raw team, but it was very ritual too. So, but since September 2021, I'm covering cryptocurrency in Portal do Bitcoin. That, as you said, it's kind of the major news vehicle about cryptocurrency here in Brazil. So.
Great. So to get started, why don't you give us a bit of context about what is Braiscompany? What is this company? Like, who are involved in it? Who is investing in this?
Okay, so Braiscompany is a company that was created in 2018, but it really started to gain momentum in 2020, and now we know for sure, because the prosecutors are saying this, it's a Ponzi scheme. People pay money and the owners use that money to pay the old clients, and that's how it goes. But in Brazil, we had these Ponzi schemes that used cryptocurrency as a bait. But Braiscompany, it's a little different because they just don't use cryptocurrency just as a bait. They say that they rent bitcoins or cryptocurrency for their clients. They trade with this cryptocurrency and give the profits to the clients and take a fee. And what they do, they ask to the clients open an account and an exchange to buy cryptocurrency and to send this cryptocurrency to the owners of the Braiscompany, that are Antonio Neto Ais and Fabricia Campos. They are a couple. And once they get this cryptocurrency, they use to their we don't know yet where are this cryptocurrency. These are things that are yet to be disclosed to the public.
So basically, as me as an investor, I see this company and I see they're offering very high returns. It was something a range of like 5 to 10% monthly returns. And I say, oh, that's a really good deal. So I go to Binance, I purchase a Bitcoin, I send it to these guys, and then they say that they're going to be, lending this or trading with this currency or something, generating returns of 5 to 10% a month, and then paying me those returns essentially. But you're saying that we don't actually know what they did with the money. It's sort of, it's essentially, locked up in accounts or where no one knows where it is exactly, and they've ceased making payouts to investors. as of December last year, which we'll get to in a second. But just maybe give us an idea of like how big was this operation? Like how big was this company? Like what was the total value locked or assets under management here? And who was all involved in this?
Yeah. So the prosecutors are saying that the couple that own Braiscompany own movimentou. Sorry, they moved. Yeah, they moved 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion. That in reais, that is in dollars, that's $290 million. The balance sheet that Braiscompany disclosed in January in a civil case that we had as access shows that they had 700 million from clients. So that it's a lot of money. They say that they had 10,000 clients, but we think that it's way more, because if it's 10,000 clients, 1.5 billion, it would be 150K for each client. But we know for a fact that they had a lot of small clients. And then we enter another question of yours, that is, who is the client? It's the people with very little money that puts like, I don't know, 10,000 reais there, and it's the judge of the city, the entrepreneur of the city that puts 100K, 200K. So it seems that it's way more than 10,000 clients, but
So the prosecutors are saying that it's 10,000 clients that put in 1.5 billion reais, which is roughly 250 million, 300 million in US dollar terms. According to your reporting and what you guys have been sort of figuring out behind the scenes, it looks like those numbers may be quite larger than what the prosecutors are saying, basically.
Yeah. The estimate, it's too shy, I think, because the numbers don't add up if you do the math.
Got it. So basically, this was a pretty massive operation that included. I mean, it's not just your typical Ponzi scheme that preys upon, for lack of a better word, like sort of low educated people or kind of low information interests. But there was a lot of like local, politicians and like business people and like civil leaders who were all sort of involved in this. It looks like Braiscompany even had like a really nice building, like in the middle, in like the business district in Campina Grande, right? It was the name of the city that they were located,
yes.
which is in Paraíba, state in northeastern Brazil. So, I mean, maybe talk a bit more about just how, like, what was the influence of these guys in their local state?
Yeah, they are very, very big. So I think it's worth of note to say that the first time I heard about Braiscompany, it was December of 2021, when I was covering a hearing of Brazilian Senate, and a lot of people were talking about, people of the industry, people, executives of the exchanges were talking, senators are talking, people, scientists, and etc. And then Antonio Neto Ais, the owner of Braiscompany, was introduced to speak in behalf of the industry about blockchain, etc. And then my editor said, "Oh, this guy is a shady guy, because everybody on the background knew that the Braiscompany, it was 99% of chance of being a Ponzi scheme." So we got like, oh, this is very bizarre and distressing, like having this guy on the Senate talking on behalf of the industry. So, but this shows the influence that he had, because the a federal deputy congressman in Brazil, in the United States, here is the deputy of his state, Julian Lemos. It was a big friend of him, always posted on his Instagram about Antonio Neto, about Braiscompany. And when Antonio Neto was in Brazilian Congress to speak about blockchain, he took photos in the in the in the both houses, in areas that you just enter if you are a journalist or a congressman or a senator. So that shows the big influence. So in his hometown, Campina Grande, he was very huge, like entrepreneurs, journalists, because I know Celino, it's a social columnist that is very famous. He was very much into the Braiscompany. So he had a lot of influence in his city. And like you said, it was not like something did on the shadies, on a no. He has a big building with Braiscompany on the facade. And
Right. So
and
it's not like it's not a PO box registered in the Cayman
no,
Islands or
no,
something. It's
no,
like
no.
he had an actual physical building
It's a whole
with.
building. Yeah,
So yeah, actually, it's funny. I actually remember that Senate hearing. I think I was following your reporting on it. Actually, it was quite funny because it was the hearing was all about like preventing scams in crypto or something.
yeah,
It's like, well, you might as well call. It takes one to know one, right? So you might as well call in a guy who's actually running one of
to
these.
know this guy. Yeah.
But well, tell us more about this. What you know about Antonio Neto Ais. He seems very prolific. Just looking at his like Instagram profile, and he kind of seems like one of these. I mean, not the only stereotype here, but kind of one of these like Brazilian like playboy type guys, right? Where he's got like, nice cars, and he's got like beautiful women, and he's always kind of travel. He's like good looking, and he's got he looks like one of these like very sort of like extravagant guys that's always got some kind of something
Yeah.
up his sleeves.
So Antonio, if you look his Instagram, you see the the start of the when he started to really gain money, because up until some time, I think, to 2019, he was a modest guy with some photos on beach and etc. And then he started to post pictures in Dubai, in London, in Europe, with Porsche, Ferrari, these expensive cars, and things went really crazy because he really bought a plane. So Antonio is a lawyer. He has a degree on, at least as I know. He worked on office of a lawyer office, but up until I think 2017. Then he worked on three Ponzi schemes that we knew that after it was disclosed that were Ponzi schemes, but it was not involved with cryptocurrency. It was marketing, multi-level thing, and etc. I don't know, but he learned the how to do a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid. So on these other uh, companies,
Got it. So he's got quite a bit. He's had some experience doing this, right?
he got a know-how. Yeah, a know-how of how to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, and he added the cryptocurrency layer to what he previously learned on these other schemes. And he
Right.
started to the Braiscompany, that, as we said, it was this kind of different, because you buy cryptocurrency, you send to him, you need to know how to open an account, to send from your wallet to another wallet, So, and he's this guy, but curiously, because he you see his old pictures, he was like a tiny, a thin guy, and now he's very bulked up.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, with the cars and the travels and etc. But every person that I spoke, a lot of them off the records, said that his wife, Fabricia Campos, it was the mastermind of the project. She said what we're going to do with the money, what are the way that we're following. Antonio was the face because he was good with words and recording videos and calling people to invest and calling people to trust. He has a famous phrase that the guarantee is me. Look in my eyes. I can't hurt you. It's like some things like that. So Antonio is this character. So, but Fabricia, it's way more low profile. But a lot of people say that she is in command and the real command. But
Got it. Got it. So she was, so at least according to what you've been told by folks who are close to the situation, like she was kind of the mastermind of it, and then he was sort of the face, like he's this kind of good looking, charismatic Brazilian guy, right? Who's got he's got a way with people, he's got a way with words. It kind of has like all of the kind of like the required sort of criteria for a successful Ponzi scheme, right? Is you need like a nice charismatic person to be the face of the organization and go around and sell this to people and kind of extravagantly posting on social media with all these kind of
show off.
Exactly.
Show off a lot of wealthy. It's always all of them need to do this. Show off a lot of wealthy, driving in big cars and etc. And right. He went to another level. He really bought a plane. So yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. And it's important to note that like you're saying like his pre Braiscompany, pre 2018. If you look at his social media, it was fairly average. He was just sort of an average guy. And then his rise and stardom was in tandem with essentially the rise of Braiscompany. So obviously it's like correlation doesn't equal causation, but it seems like there's definitely not a coincidence, right? Or it seems to be more than a coincidence, you should say. So let's fast forward here till about December of last year, about 3-4 months ago, is when Braiscompany ceased being able to make its monthly payouts to investors. So right, they had promised 5 to 10% returns each month to investors, and then the allegation, at least, is that they were making those payments just by using new customer deposits, kind of classic Ponzi scheme material. And so those investors ceased getting their money or the payouts in December-ish of last year. And then why don't you tell us a bit about what happened there and what's been happening since?
Yeah, so in December, like you said, they ceased the payments to the clients. And when this happened in a Ponzi scheme, it's that when you have the avalanche, the downfall, because the client starts to complain on the social media. The new client, possible new clients get afraid of entering, so they don't have the income to pay the old clients, and they started to seize the payments, to delay the payments, to pay just some of them, and this was getting bigger and bigger. And on the first time, Antonio Neto said that it was a problem with an app that they were developing and etc. On a second phase, he said that it was a problem with Binance. Binance was blocking their account, they're blocking their transferences to the clients. So the problem was with Binance account. Second to Antonio, but I read on a court case that the lawyer of Binance said the Braiscompany never did a company account on Binance. They just had Fabrícia Campos' personal account that did all the payments, the transferences, and etc. So the lawyer of Binance said Binance never blocked Braiscompany and never did anything like this. On the first, Braiscompany never did a company account on Binance that allows them to move a lot more money than a personal account. So, and this is what on a civil case, on documents of a civil case that we had access on January. So, but these excuses of an app and then Binance and etc., they have short leg because since the final of January and the beginning of February, people just really lost their patience, and they did they went to the building of the Braiscompany to demand their money, to camp there, and then we are on this situation right now because they have arrest warrants against Antonio Neto and Fabrício Campos. They are on the run. They are fugitives because the heat was on.
So basically, in December, the clients were complaining that they couldn't get their money back. They weren't getting their funds paid out to them. They were complaining on social media and on Reclame Aqui, which is kind of this, I don't know how you describe that in the United States, but kind of like a place where consumers will post complaints about businesses, almost like a Yelp or something. So people were complaining, and then Braiscompany executives were coming up with these excuses about it's an app, or it's an issue with Binance, and then obviously those were kind of debunked, or it seems like they didn't really have much legs to stand on. And then how did it escalate to like the authorities and the courts getting involved, and what was the impetus there? What happened there to get the authorities involved?
So the prosecutors, the civil prosecutors, because here in Brazil there are different prosecutors. There are civil prosecutors and criminal prosecutors. The civil prosecutors said that they are investigating the Braiscompany in the beginning of February, because when the client does a complaint about a company, they are obliged to look out what is happening. So the civil prosecutors say, well, we are looking into this, and we're probably going to open a civil case against Braiscompany. But he said, but on the criminal side, I don't have anything to say because it's the other colleague that it's up to. So in February 16th, we heard this because the federal police start to do some raids on the buildings of Braiscompany in 3 or 4 cities, in Campina Grande, São Paulo, maybe Rio de Janeiro, I don't know. But and then we get to know that Federal Police, it was investigating them, and I don't know exactly, but I think the whole delaying payments and people gave momentum to them to go after, because this was happening for, I don't know, 2 years. This company was happening, but just now I think the public pressure, it was too much to the police and to the prosecutors do nothing. So they did.
Right. Right. So, so you're saying like the authorities, the federal police may have had suspicions, or they probably had suspicions before, even over the last 2 years, but it wasn't until before that, there wasn't anybody complaining about these guys, right? Nobody was losing money. So they really didn't have, it wasn't a priority, or they didn't have like there wasn't enough of a reason to really, further investigate essentially until people started losing their money and complaining about it.
And they are being charged with crime against the popular economy, that is include making a Ponzi scheme. This is a crime in Brazil. I know that is in other countries too, but it's a specific crime to do a Ponzi scheme in Brazil. It is written in the law, and they are facing up to 12 years in prison.
And then, so Fabricia Campos and Antonio Neto Ais, where are they now? Because they were not in the offices when the buildings were raided, apparently, right?
They were not in the offices. They spread an audio saying, "Oh, we talked with the police yesterday, and it's all fine. We are obeying. We are helping the investigation." But this is a lie. They didn't talk to the police, with the authorities, and nobody knows where they are. So Antonio posted on his Instagram, and you got a way to see where the people are posting from. And his post was posted from Argentina. So it's
using like the location tracking on the phone. Okay.
The location, I didn't know that, but people investigate his post, and it's a very common feature of the Instagram. You see where people posted, and he posted from Argentina. We don't know, because maybe someone posted to him. Maybe he used a VPN that shows different locations from where you really are. But it was the only clue that people had, that maybe he's in Argentina. But then after, he posted again with this option off. So we don't know, and I don't know. He's under the radar right now. So we don't know.
He's on the run, right? He's a fugitive.
He's really on the run right now. Yeah.
Okay, and I saw recently, or last week, that the courts in Paraíba had requested that he be put on like the Interpol wanted list or fugitive list.
Yeah.
What's the story with that?
Yeah. So the court asked to Interpol to include him and Fabricia on the fugitive list, but I checked it just before enter here with you, and the Interpol list, and they aren't in the list yet, but I don't know how the process it is, but they aren't. So people don't know. A lot of people say that maybe he's in Dubai. I don't know. It's a kind of a thing for Brazilian rich people with problems with justice go to Dubai, but we don't know. But I think soon he will be in the Interpol list. I think it's just a matter of a process to do this thing.
Got it. And then, and as far as the investors, like the people that lost money in this, what is their? I mean, I know, aside from just complaining, and I see that the people have been kind of camping out outside the Braiscompany headquarters in Campina Grande, and people have been. Do these people have any real recourse at this point? Like, is there? What's the chances of these people getting their money back?
It's very, very low, unfortunately, because the Brazilian justice system, it's very slow, and first they need to freeze all the assets, identify the assets, and let the whole process roll on the justice system, and identify who is the clients, who is the creditors. So, and he he started to sell his assets. We checked this. I did a report on this. He on January he sold his plane and he sold his mansion. His mansion, it was like worth of 15 million reais, and he sold for 12 millions of reais because he was trying to to get liquid
Right.
to get
So he's doing
liquid.
it's
Yeah,
a fire sale, right? Where he's selling things at below their
and,
value just to sort
yeah,
of get
yeah,
money.
yeah. And now we don't know for sure how worth his assets worth and how many they are, the planes, the cars, the etc. I don't know. The prosecutors listed I think 20 cars in his name, good cars, Porsche and etc. No, he has a lot of money, and
Yeah,
with
he's
money,
got good taste, right? Good
yeah,
taste, like
yeah.
with the
He has a lot of money, but I don't think this money is enough to pay all of the clients because we are saying we are if we take their word for real, it's 700 million reais that they were managing in client money. This 1 billion, it's how much they moved, but they said they they managed 700 million reais, and he doesn't have this money.
yeah,
I think this money it's evaporated and etc. And cold wallets in cars in the name of other persons in so an accountant accountist, I don't know, the person who do the account for a company did an article for us in Portal Bitcoin, explaining that it's very very unlikely that people will receive some money because, well,
mm,
these things happen in past. Brazil have this history of Ponzi schemes, and uh, nobody received anything for as long as I know in this last 5 years, and these things are happening with
right.
cryptocurrency as a bait or as a part of the system. So for the
Right.
clients, it's a very dire future, unfortunately.
Yeah, so it's a pretty low chance of getting anything back. Basically, is unfortunately kind of
Yeah.
the. And then what about the people that were involved in this kind of support it, like the politicians and kind of some of these like business leaders and things that were involved in this? I mean, is there any like real consequence for any of these people, or like what's going to be is there any repercussions for these people
So
that may have been sort of supporting him along the way?
so the arrest warrants, it's just for the couple Antonio and Fabricia by now, but they have a lot of people that work with them. So I think we'll see more of charges against another other people that are in the inner circle. I think the big question is the people that they used to call the brokers. That what is a broker? Price broker. What it was? It was a person like Joe that started to sell contracts with Braiscompany, and he received fees, and he was an
Mm,
intermediary. So a lot of people made a lot of money with this, and these people are feeling the hit more than Antonio, because Antonio it's too far from the normal client. This normal client, it's putting pressure on this broker, this
mm,
person that sold this contract to him. So the big question is, these brokers, they will be charged with something, or they will just say, well, we didn't know, we thought that was a
right.
legitimate business, we're just selling a contract. We don't know, because if this happened, there is maybe in hundreds of people that could be charged with something. If the prosecutors try to go after them, it's a lot of people.
Right, right. And then these guys have a legitimate defense where they could say, well, we didn't know, we thought it was a legitimate thing. But on the other hand, I think these guys need to be, if these guys are brokers or advisors of some sort, they need to be kind of doing their due diligence and recommending good things to their clients, I suppose. But it is interesting that Braiscompany had also a network of these brokers that were out selling these contracts on their behalf, right? So it wasn't just, I go to the Braiscompany website and I send them my money, but it was like there's a whole network of intermediaries who were selling this stuff on their behalf, basically. Is that correct?
Yeah. That, I think that was the big deal. I think there was a small part of people that went directly to the website of Braiscompany, directly to the building, to the headquarters in Campina Grande, but the vast majority of people get to know Braiscompany by a broker. So, and now we have Instagram that Bryce brokers to identify these people, to posting print screens and etc. Because these people are are deleting photos, changing the bio in their social accounts and etc. Because, but that was how you said. The vast majority of people that went to Braiscompany was with these brokers.
Interesting. And then, so let's chat here quickly about like kind of the broader. Well, actually, before we kind of talk about broader context, I'd like to just talk a bit about you. There was a letter that I think it was you or one of your colleagues obtained from a lawyer for Braiscompany, who was, they sent a memo to the employees of the company that's basically saying like, this was like the company's own lawyer that was basically saying like, we don't know what's going on here. Like there's no one in charge. We suggest you find your own, personal legal representation.
Yeah.
I mean, what's at stake here for the I mean, I think there's even some rumors about like all the company, all the employees were terminated or laid off, and there's a lot of speculation around that right now. But what's going to happen to the actual company and the people that, because I assume, I mean, if these guys had a whole tower of in the center of the city, they probably had a lot of employees, and most of these people probably didn't even really realize what was going on. But what's going to happen to these people that were like employed there or involved with the company in some aspect?
I think the employees, I think they are on a situation that they will try to seek injustice, their salary, their benefits, because the company imploded from a night to one night from the other morning. Like, you understand what I say?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Like almost like overnight. It
overnight,
within a matter of weeks, right? Like it just
it was overnight because and to a point it was operating. People were we have some problems, but we are operating. And the other day, overnight, how the Antonio was on the run. The police, the authorities was after him. So, and this lawyer that sent this message to the employees, it's the lawyer that was involved in the hedge fund that Antonio Neto created. In fact, he bought a hedge fund that was approved by our SEC, Brazilian SEC. And this lawyer, Orlando Virginio, it was the director of this hedge fund. So he's really close to Antonio. But like he said, I think nobody knows. No one is in charge, and overnight things just went south for everybody there. So I think I don't know about the employees. Everybody's thinking way more on the clients and the authorities and the owners. It's a good question. I think we're going to try to contact them to know the day by day activities and etc. I know that they had some pressure, some political pressures to vote for Bolsonaro and etc. We did a report on this. Not my colleague did a report on this.
So it had kind of this weird sort of like, cultish atmosphere kind of vibe to it, where there was, kind of feels like your typical, Ponzi scheme sort of corporate vibe, where you have to sort of, if you don't agree with the vision, like you're a detractor and you're not a believer,
A lot of the designers like, let's go scream like a hero. Let's go do this thing. Let's clap when Antonio enters the room. Things like that. Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
And so to wrap up here, I wanted to just get like a bit of broader context from you around kind of how this particular case of Braiscompany fits into the broader world of like Brazilian crypto Ponzi schemes. And you had mentioned last time we spoke that, and even I think your editor Claudio was mentioning that, this is probably like the last of like the major like Brazilian Bitcoin Ponzi schemes. We've had like a whole, basically, there's like 5 or 6 of these things that have kind of blown up over the past couple of years. But this is probably the last one of any serious scale that we would expect to see, at least for some time. But maybe kind of give us like a bit of context around like why is this like the end of an era of Brazilian bit? I think I'm going to end up doing an entire new podcast just on like Brazilian Bitcoin Ponzi schemes. So there's definitely enough content here for quite a lot of good conversation. But as far as is this the kind of the end of an era here? Are we witnessing, is this just? Are we going to keep? I know in the current law that was just approved back in December, there's some, it amplifies the penalties for people that are using cryptocurrencies to commit financial crimes. In this case would be, basically trying to crack down on cryptocurrency pyramid schemes. But I guess that begs the question that, pyramid schemes were already illegal in Brazil before, and people are still doing them. So, like, is this new law really going to prevent people from doing these types of things? It's maybe the question.
Yeah. So
sorry, that was a lot of information. I just
no, it's fine. So I think it's historic because it's like you said, it's the last of the really huge Ponzi schemes in Brazil, because we are talking about 10,000s of people, millions, billions, this kind of scale, big scale. So we had Bitcoin Banco, gas, rental coins, and then we had Braiscompany that it was the last standing, and now it's not standing anymore. And the law that you mentioned, I think it really had gained momentum because of these Ponzi schemes, because a lot of people were saying, well, this is a wild west, like people give their money, the companies just fled with the money and etc., and nobody knows, and they say, oh, it's cryptocurrency, they don't have regulation, it's under, nobody has fault on anything. So it was this kind of feeling that put the pressure on the authorities to know, let's pass a law, let's vote a law, let's do a bill to regulate this system. And this was really the motive for the law to pass. So I think the law, as you said, it was signed by the president, then it was Jair Bolsonaro in December, and starts to really being applied in the middle of the year, because we have this 6 months period to the people. So I think because of the law and because of the authorities seeing these cases going on and on and on, and people and the press doing articles and TV shows and etc. about this, I think the Brazilian population is being educated about, well, cryptocurrency, it's not a magic box that you put money and goes.
Right.
and went up, and you go out with 10% of your money every month. No, it's an investment like any others. It's a very volatile investment. So I think Braiscompany, it's kind of marking this end of an era, and I think the new era will be the more normal regulatory area of economy, like exchanges and companies. But we don't know we can underestimate the capacity of people to be fooled. No.
Yeah, well, hey, there's a reason that Ponzi schemes have existed for hundreds of years, right?
Yeah, but it's historic, and it feels like an end of an era. Yes.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Fernando. Really appreciate your time, and great work reporting on all this. I'm sure it keeps busy keeps you, during this crypto winter, right? So nicely done. Very good work by you and your colleagues on chasing this story, and we'll have to see how it all concludes.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for having me. People that are listening that is interested in this subject can contact me by social media, by our website, portaldobitcoin.com.br. But if you are interested in something and you don't read Portuguese or something like that, you just can contact us. We can explain or translate or something. It's been a pleasure to be here. It's my premiere on a podcast in English, so
You did great.
Excuse me if I missed the words and etc. But it's a pleasure.
It's hard enough doing this in your own language, much less a second language. So totally appreciate you willing to put yourself out there and do this and help us all get informed on this situation. So, all right, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll be back soon with another great episode.